Trophy hunters.
Yeah.
There's this, I think this American woman that's been famous on Instagram for shooting the giraffe and saying how tasty it was. What's your read on something like that?
Two things. First, I feel like there's like people in every aspect of everything that you would consider almost on the fringe that you don't associate with, right? And then they become the poster child for something and they don't know how to explain it in a good way, or they portray it in a bad light, and then everybody gets cast as that. I mean, to say, and I don't necessarily know, I'm not really sure what exactly you're talking about, but we'll just call it like a generalization of something is, I don't even know, some kind of photo that goes around.
Yeah, or trophy hunters in Africa
right, so,
bringing home these exotic animals.
And I think what happens is somebody could see a photo and they're going to infer whatever they want about that photo, but that photo doesn't tell the story. And that's the thing, is in our world today, people have access to all kinds of photos that become public. And some of those photos might not portray hunters how hunters see hunters. They just portray one aspect of whatever that person did. And it becomes a generalization of what everybody feels. And what you see in that photo is somebody smiling and standing over an animal, and it looks bad. And yeah, and if you don't understand, maybe, now I'm just saying, I'll take a photo with an animal, and when I look at that photo, like, I remember that animal. It's a way of like, and to other hunters, they look at that animal and like, it's a weird thing. For us, it's more of a feeling of respect for that animal. Like, you're showing this animal, but you also have to understand, like, that animal is completely used. It's food. Now, I'll say I shoot a deer that has antlers, and I'll take the antlers, and I might have the antlers in my garage or whatever. But because when that meat's gone, I still want to remember that animal. And it's a weird...
Is that why people put the heads of the animals on the wall?
Yeah,
Is it more means, of a remembrance.
It's a remembrance. It means something to them about that hunt, and every time they look at it. Imagine every day, if you walked out of your room to go have breakfast, and you saw an animal that you ate, and you had to remember that animal every day. Maybe you would stop eating, or maybe you wouldn't decide to eat meat, or maybe you just like look at that animal, and it brings back a memory of an experience that you had in the life of that animal.
Okay. So we're making assumptions when we judge hunters on those pictures.
But I also think that there are people out there that do stupid stuff, and they take really bad pictures that are not respectful to the animal. And my thing about that would be, I think that that's bad for hunting as a whole. And I honestly encourage other hunters to, like, self-police, because hunting organizations originally, like in America, are conservation organizations, and they have this code of ethics. Hunters, for me to hunt, the first thing I'm taught is essentially a hunter's code of ethics, and that code of ethics is to always show respect to the animal, for a lot of reasons. One, because if you don't show respect to the animal, the other hunters believe you shouldn't even be out there doing it. There's something wrong with you. Like, it should be about respect toward the animal. But it's also, you need to be self-policing as two other hunters that I would be talking to. We've always been self-policing. We create the regulations a lot of times, and the rules and the code of ethics. It's a thing for hunters. If you're driving down the road and a deer's caught in a fence and you're deer hunting, what do you think most hunters would do?
Kill it? Help it out?
You would let it go.
Let it go.
Because it's not fair chase. Because that animal had it couldn't get away from you. It couldn't use its nose and its senses to escape. Okay. So you would let it out.
Okay. So this is interesting, because the hunt itself is a test between a human and a deer, or in this case, or an elk. Even though you have a high-powered rifle, what do you say to people that is not fair?
Yeah, but you have a high-powered rifle, but you also want to make a clean, ethical kill. You need some means of, that goes into our humanity.
Okay. And it's still,
in a lot of ways.
it's still difficult because
It is still
they're in
difficult.
their own habitat.
They are.
They have senses.
They can smell 1,000 times better than you. If the wind turns the wrong direction, it's going to smell you and leave, run. They're naturally adapted to survive. They have adaptations that help them avoid predators every day. When a human hunter walks in the woods, well, most places, like in America, where it's where we have predators, large predators. When a human walks into the woods as a hunter, he's one of many hunters. Those animals are hunted daily in most areas by mountain lions, bears, coyotes, whatever, other predators. Now you go to somewhere else, like I say, every region is different. You go to New Zealand, where there's introduced species, and then there's no predators. Well, those populations go unchecked, and they can actually have negative effects on the native wildlife. So I guess, what would be the instance there if you wanted to go back to normal? You'd have to do a mass killing of all these animals. Thousands of invasive species, millions of animals would have to be killed if you wanted things to go back to the way it was.